What are the current resources do you think that executives have for upskilling when it comes to data? Or where do you feel like there could be more done?
There are very few formal courses for data science leadership, because even data science in the commercial market, in the popular market, is still fairly new and not necessarily mature enough to really see a leader come from, the beginning to the end, so to speak. So basically starting as a data science, then leading a data science team, because there's so many different cocktails of growth that needs to happen to get there. So a simple example would be, obviously, when it comes to technical roles like data science, are you the kind of person that enjoys being in front of your laptop, writing maths, developing code? And how do you then take that person and make them step back from that exciting work and then try to understand the business perspective, to then merge that with the technology perspective and create that magic? That transition is a very difficult one. It's definitely one that's becoming more accepted in the industry, but it's such a delicate balance, because you might find someone more inclined towards technology and someone more inclined to the business. So depending on the business, there needs to be a right balance of both. But when you have someone like that in the business, then you've got a significant way there. But if you're a business that wants to leverage data science, so you literally have had no exposure to data science, there's not many resources out there for them to kind of upskill, because the question now becomes, how far do they need to know? Do they need to know that these things will give you great value? Do they need to know a little bit more about it? Do they need to know what data they need? Do they need to know what infrastructure they need? Do they need to know how long it would take to develop that capability and that skill and that insight? Because every business is different for data science. So the only way that I've seen it really work is when there's a leadership support given to the leaders. And what that means is there's some form of either consulting or some form of leadership hire that comes in that guides the business towards that objective. Because although you can provide a leadership team a course, hey, crash course in data science, here you go, there's still an element of guiding through that process for a period of time. And because the process is really what data science is a process. It's not a here's data science and bye. It's more like, here's the beginning of the data science journey, and here is a destination that you want to get to. So essentially, it's a combination, in my view, a combination of sort of a preliminary preliminary awareness of sort of how data science can help your business, and that can be done in a sort of a workshop manner. And then it is a guide, a leadership guide through that process, so there's an understanding of sort of the end to end. Then after that, and that takes some time, quite a bit of an investment, a couple of months. And sort of when the business understands, what, data science is not magic. Data science takes time. Data science requires investment in infrastructure, in skills, in business strategy. Then that's kind of when all the dots connect. And that's kind of, in my view, that's why it's not so easy to sort of click a finger and boom, you've got a data science team that's functional. And that's why only real companies that have quite a significant amount of financial capabilities, and that's why fintech has done so well, it's because it comes with a significant investment of time and money and patience. So I guess to summarize my point, there is a way. It's not like technology. It's not like a course that just ends it all. It's a combination of awareness and a guide, and also the business being patient enough to kind of go through that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Because to be quite honest with you, I found it recently. I've been finding a lot of companies not necessarily understanding what is it that they actually need. Sometimes you'd find out that they are saying that they actually need a data scientist, but in essence, the content in terms of what you're actually doing on a day-to-day basis, that's a job of a data engineer. That's a job of a data analyst. That's a job of a business intelligence. That's actually a job of a statistician, and all those kind of stuff. In terms of awareness, that's something that of which we know the technical aspects behind what we actually do on a day-to-day basis. We know the differences in between all those career paths, although they somehow they actually correlate with one another. I mean, an awareness from that perspective, because to be quite honest with you, data science are really expensive to actually hire within the business. But then what's the use of you hiring someone who's really expensive, but then you don't really understand what is it actually coming in board and actually going to be doing from a business perspective. So those are the things that we are in it, and we need to now start raising awareness in terms of educating the corporate sectors, in terms of we understand that this is actually how your data actually looks like. Before you actually hire a data scientist, you need to actually now go back to do your ETL. You need to actually clean your data. You need to do your data warehouse infrastructure, and all those kind of stuff. So before you're actually taking a little bit step forward into getting a data scientist, you need to get now a data engineer, or someone of which is going to be able to actually understand your data and rearrange your data in any way possible. Only then, that's when you'll actually, you know what, let me go out there and look for a data scientist. However, when data scientists come in board, don't expect that person to be going around and actually be building reports for you, and all those kind of stuff, because that's really isn't what we actually do. And to be quite honest with you, when other people get to be moved from what they actually do to actually something else that you actually want them to actually do, just because that's how your company is looking like and all this kind of stuff, you need to understand they actually get bored. That is why you see, if you find a lot of data scientists, when it comes to startup companies, they don't really stay there for the longest time, because they're actually being exposed to something that they don't really do in any way possible. And again, just to touch base in terms of the question that Emmanuel had raised, looking at the hiring structure of data scientists within South Africa and all this kind of stuff. Last month, I saw this other post on LinkedIn where they were looking for a data scientist, and the prerequisite of that job title entails someone who is really experienced when it comes to the field, and all this kind of stuff. And it got me thinking that, you know what, there are either two ways that that both parties need to actually do. I mean, me as someone who's actually looking for an entry-level job, I need to now look at different things of how to actually now do certain projects on the outside, which is something that we actually offer from a graduate post perspective. How do I now I know I'm very I'm data driven, I'm number driven. How do I now look at probably maybe approaching different stores within your rural area, saying that, you know what, go to that one store and be like, guys, I can actually collect the data from maybe 3 or 4 stores and actually have a mini sample for like I say, as a mini project for you and all those kind of stuff, to a point where you could actually extrapolate that and be like, guys, this is how I could actually report for you. This is how you could actually beat your competitors and all those kind of stuff. Projects like that are very important. And also on the other part, the companies need to actually go to a point where probably they go back and actually reinvest on the talent that they would actually need in future and all those kind of stuff. That's where now the government also needs to now start getting involved in such things as saying that, you know what, we know that there's going to be a need for us to actually get data scientists. There's a need for us to actually move towards the fourth industrial revolution, where we're using big data. We need someone that actually understands your machine learning, someone actually understands the computational aspect behind everything that we tend to do. So that's where we now need to actually start working together from a country perspective to try and understand how do we now move forward? How do we now empower young people so that they could actually jump into this career path? So yeah.
Yeah, and like it's really easy to get lost with the buzzwords, right? People are talking robotics, they're talking data scientists, they're talking this, they're talking that. So actually, if you don't really understand the industry, then it can get easy for you to get lost and sort of go astray. So yeah, to Rufiwa's point, I think to get the right people in the room, because yourself as a leader as well, you may think that this is what's best for your team. And at the end of the day, you may actually be frustrating those data scientists and those data analysts, because really it's not what they're doing versus their skills is not really, matched. So yeah, I actually agree with you on that you actually need to get all these parties in a room and sort of have a way going forward in terms of how to, sort these issues out, because you see it a lot in corporate, where people are frustrated because I'm a data scientist, but I do reporting, versus what the role had advertised to say, okay, no, we want someone who's going to be building and assembling models for us, your neural networks and all these things. And then at the end of the day, you find that no, actually, this is not what I'm here to do. So yeah.
The soldier dreams.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife, right? In my honest opinion, because there are so many functionalities in there. I just want to be able to cut a grape, but it also comes with a lot of things, because let's face it, data scientists can do data engineering and can do reports. It's within the skill set. It's a small fraction of the skill set, but still within the skill set. So you have a business that has an army knife and they only want to do one of its capabilities, but don't understand the rest. They're not going to venture into those things, particularly if they don't know how to use them. So yeah, to both your points, it's all about making them aware, because it could just be that they just need someone to do reporting. They don't actually need a data scientist. They don't need to spend the money on that resource. And it could just be a case of just making sure they're aware that it's a buzzword, data science, but your business may not actually need that or be ready for it yet. Yeah.
Sure.